vibrational energy works. And the vibrational energy rides on sound. The forgotten yogi is within reach. And it is when one is willing to move beyond the dogma of the chakra. We must reach further outward to go beyond the chakras. Utilizing the chakra, the Cho-kara, the microcosmic orbit, we are then capable and enabled to utilize the blue corona. This is where the divisions and separations of language disappear. Language is a very physical entity. It's a very indigenous vibrational frequency. And it is important to utilize language and to de-utilize language. I was having a conversation with a woman in Berlin last month, and it turned out to be a very auspicious conversation. She was speaking about her chakras and how she was having difficulty feeling them when she would do a meditation or she would move into a physical siddhis practice to activate. So I said, let's back up here, right now. Let's back up and let's examine the way you are pronouncing a Sanskrit word. Chakra, chalk, like in blackboard, chakra. This is something that I've heard in the West, people in the United States, I've heard say chakra. Never ever really pronouncing the Sanskrit of the word, the holiness, the divinity of the word correctly. It's chakra. The front of the chakra and the back of the chakra is called the Cho-kara. This was astounding to her. Her face completely lit up. She was completely transfixed upon hearing it. The difference between chakra and chakra and Cho-kara completely electrified the woman. She completely became animated. And I said to her, there you have it. You feel, simply by hearing my correct pronunciation of the energy center, you are feeling that energy center. And she came to life. And I spoke to her. The pronunciation, crown seal chakra, it's not the crown seal chakra. It's the Sahasrara. And it's not the Sahasrara. It's the Sahasrara. Sahasrara. The solar plexus is the Manipura. Manipura. So the pronunciation is of great importance because the pronunciation itself activates the Merkaba. If we are going to go beyond the chakras, beyond what we understand from the cloud of the New Age movement from the 1980s and 90s that seems to have left a trail of dust behind us, we need to clear that trail of dust. And we need to clear it with accuracy. That accuracy is correct pronunciation of the Sanskrit terms. So it's my desire on this time with you to address this so that we can move into the understanding of the microcosmic orbit, which is the energy that runs along the spinal column. The Manipura, the solar plexus chakra, has a direct silver cord that moves into the microcosmic orbit. The macrocosmic orbit is in the front of the body. The macrocosmic orbit is the tree, if one will, that contains the chakras. The chakras are contained, held together in their tree. These run along the spine and along the front of the body. Here, the Manipura, the Sahasrara, the Ajna can be accessed. And there, when we are utilizing proper Sanskrit pronunciation for the conjure of the energy of them to work, the proper pronunciation is the key. It's a very small key. There is a very small key to opening siddhis. That small key is pronunciation. It's as simple as that, pronunciation. When the chakras are pronounced correctly through Sanskrit, that slight difference of addressing the chakras, not the chakras, the chakras, opens the door to their energy. It opens the chakras. The solar plexus, the Manipura, when you hear Manipura, feel how different that feels from solar plexus. Manipura. Speaking Manipura is a conjure. It is a cast, a key in vibrational tone and language. And that vibrational tone and language opens the solar plexus, opens the Manipura, and activates it. The microcosmic orbit running along the spine from the base of the Kundalini upward to the Sahasrara is activated immediately. No matter which chakra is addressed, the Ajna, the Sahasrara, the Manipura, it makes no difference which one. The Vishuddha, SH, sh. That sound is very important. You can't say the Vishuddha. It's the Vishuddha. When one says Vishuddha, the throat chakra opens, it activates, it illuminates with electrical energy. And this electrical energy comes from the microcosmic orbit, from the tree line, which contains the silver cord that runs up and out of the Sahasrara. There, that silver cord being activated creates the illumination of the blue corona. The blue corona sits just above the skin, and the blue corona is approximately 1/4 of an inch of cobalt blue light. It is directly beneath the first layer of the auric field. The auric field contains many, many, many colors, and it differs with every person. There is not one drawing of an auric field or a pictogram or painting that applies to everyone's auric field, because everyone's auric field is indigenous to their electric body. It's the electric body of the person, the individual, the indigenous incarnate soul that brings about the siddhis that they have carried for many, many lifetimes. In this lifetime, we are experiencing the opening of our siddhis. But the opening of our siddhis is not an indigenous thing or discovery to this lifetime. It is in this lifetime that we are remembering to open, how to open the siddhis. And that even for some of us, that we even have siddhis powers. And these siddhis powers are our birthright. The key to accessing these siddhis powers is very small. As I have spoken, the key is as simple as the pronunciation, the correct pronunciation of words and vibrational sounds. Vibrational sounds are absolutely your key to the Enoch of siddhis. Moving beyond the chakras is further accelerated by opening the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is very physical, and yet it is very unphysical, because the thyroid gland utilizes the blue corona. Let us look at how much thyroid disease there is in the world today. Thyroid dysfunctions in people manifest in many, many ways. In obesity, in chronic fatigue, in hyperactivity in children. This is because the thyroid is not being energized consciously through the power of siddhis and through the power of our indigenous knowledge. Let us move into an exercise for activating the thyroid box, pulling downward on the skin and moving up, moving the chin upward. Immediately the box of the thyroid is open. It changes your voice. Simply by opening it, changes your voice. This area is called the Vishuddha chakra. In its rear is the Cho-kara of the Vishuddha. They both function differently. The Cho-kara of the Vishuddha cleanses the thyroid gland. The chakra of the Vishuddha absorbs the vibrational frequency that you choose, you conjure, you indigenously make a choice of what energy you are going to place into that chakra. That energy choice is what opens the door to siddhis. So let us try this. Let us open this up. Opening it up, you notice a difference in the voice. And you can turn to the side, moving upward. Turn to the center, moving upward. Turn to the side, moving upward. Moving the eyes upward to the brow, activating the chakras. And one begins mantra. Van, Ve, Ta, Ja, Ma, Ti. Van, Ve, Ja. Van, Ve, Ja. Van, Ve, Ja. Van, Ve, Ta. Van, Ve, Ta. Van, Ve, Ta, Jamati. Van, Ve, Ja, Tamati. 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 Van, Ve, Ja, Tamati. Van, Ve, Ja, Tamaji. You will notice the very undogmatic changing of the mantra, of the words. This is because the microcosmic orbit is open. the silver cord is reaching outward and is exploring into the blue corona for what vowels and sounds are needed for your indigenous particular moment. So here, the language of light is accessed. You have moved beyond the chakra. The body electric is not the body physical. We must move beyond thinking of ourselves as physical bodies. And we must move beyond the chakras. And this exercise is for precisely doing this. Focus your consciousness down the front of the chakra tree. Moving your consciousness through the flesh body to the back of the chakra tree. This is the Cho-kara tree. Chakra, Cho-kara. Chakra, the front, Cho-kara, the back. They must be in your consciousness. If we are accessing only the chakras, or worse, accessing chakras, which is a mispronunciation of the Sanskrit, we have very little energy occurring, very little workings. But if we become aware of the chakra and the Cho-kara and their activation of the macrocosmic orbit moving upward the spine, we then access, illuminate the silver cord, which runs upward through the macrocosmic orbit, out of the Sahasrara into the cosmos. It is limitless. There is no need to place effort or energy in pushing it outward, because it is the moment one thinks of it. The moment it is present in your consciousness, you have conjured that energy. Breathe deeply. Exhale and move into the consciousness of the microcosmic orbit. The microcosmic orbit runs up the back of the spine. The macrocosmic orbit runs up the front of the chakra tree. Chakra, front, Cho-kara, back. Bringing this consciousness into your awareness in this moment activates the silver cord. Once the silver cord is activated, the blue corona is immediately activated. Here, the auric field responds. It responds with an enormous energy. It moves into another self of itself, where it bifurcates into many selves of itself. This is where the transcendental is accessible to you. This is the mechanism, the key. The Sahasrara opens automatically. The silver cord becomes activated. When all of this energetic system is in process, it is processing your thoughts. The entire auric field, the blue corona, the macrocosmic orbit, the silver cord, all focus into the Vishuddha, containing the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland, activated, then brings a marriage, a symbiosis with these energies. And Merkaba is formed. Merkaba is formed all around your being. And all of these energies become one. They become unified. They become Merkaba. The Merkaba, as many pronounce it, is the very skeleton of Siddhis. It is the structure of light grids and colors that Siddhis rides upon to make manifest from the vocal commands that one gives. These vocal commands are called castes, conjures, depending on the culture that one comes from. One's culture will have verbiages, whether it is that we are in Germany, or we are in China, or we are in the United States, South America, Australia. Every culture will have its address, and it is verbal, and they are all unified and work, providing they are pronounced correctly. When one is moving into Sanskrit, one must pronounce Sanskrit perfectly. The moment we address ourselves as the body electric and not the flesh body, there is a change in consciousness.